Hi, my name is Nathan. You're watching Nice at Dice, and today I'm going to be doing a playthrough of one of my own designs. This game is called Warriors and Writings. It is a print and play, roll and write fantasy dungeon crawler. So basically what that means, if you're not familiar with any of those terms, print and play means this game is available as a digital file. You download it, you print it out yourself, and provide a couple of other components, in this case dice and pencils, and then you have everything you need to play right there. It is a roll and write, meaning that basically you're going to be rolling a couple of dice every round, and then everybody's going to use the same values on those dice to resolve their actions for the round. Basically, your actions are going to involve writing on a couple of sheets of paper, one that tracks your character and the other one that tracks your progress through the dungeon. It is a fantasy dungeon crawler, which means your actions that you're resolving are basically going to be taking your fantasy adventurer through this map, this dungeon, fighting enemies as you go, collecting treasure, eventually fighting a boss enemy. And the goal is to defeat the boss enemy. You have to do that to qualify for victory. And then everyone who has defeated the boss enemy after a certain number of rounds will compare how much gold they've collected. Whoever's looted the most gold is the winner of the game. You can also play solo, in which case you're just trying to defeat the boss enemy within a certain number of rounds and beat your high score as far as how much gold you were able to collect in the run. So today we're going to be looking at what I call the introductory edition of the game. It's a free version of the game that you can download from a few different websites. There'll be links in the description of this video, so you can find that if you want to download that. Basically, it has a streamlined version of the rules, and it provides you with two simplified characters, the hero and the sage. And then it also provides you with two kind of small dungeons that you can run through. We're going to just be looking at one of those characters in one of those dungeons today. We'll go over to the table here. I'll explain a little bit more how the game works, and then we'll just get right into our playthrough. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. This is Warriors and Writings, the introductory edition. It starts out with basically a 2-page rule sheet. Okay, so pretty simple, straightforward. Rules are not too complex. And then you are going to have a half-page character sheet, which has all the data for your adventure. You're going to be tracking stuff on here. This is the hero character, which is what we'll be playing with today. And first of all, you can see you have your health at the top. You've got these 4 hearts. As you take damage, you're going to mark the hearts to track your loss of health. And as you recover, you can erase those marks, right? If you get the opportunity to heal, you can erase those marks to recover your health. You also have another resource called grit, which is represented by these triangles. The main purpose of grit is that at the beginning of the round, you're going to roll a couple of dice. These are your action dice, and you can spend grit to modify the values of those dice, either up or down by 1 for each grit that you spend. Grit is also used to power your talents, which we'll get to in a minute, but that's what grit is. Then we have our basic actions. Well, before we get to our basic actions, we have a spot to track our gold. Again, gold is basically your score at the end of the game, and then we have a space to track experience points. Experience points are gained from defeating enemies, and then you spend experience points to unlock your talents. All right, and then we have our basic actions. The hero has 2 basic actions. He has a move action, which lets you move, and he has a strike action, which lets you attack. Then you have your talents. You're going to start with 1 talent, and then you're going to be able to spend experience points to unlock your other talents as you play. The hero has 3 talents: a boomerang toss, which lets him attack at range, a roll, which lets him move through enemy spaces, and then a sweeping strike, which lets him attack multiple enemies at a time. And then you have your inventory. Your inventory has 3 different items: potions, elixirs, and keys. Potions let you heal your health, elixirs let you recover your grit, and keys will let you unlock an adjacent door. That's basically what's going on here. We'll talk about some of this in more detail. To start with, we're just going to choose 1 talent that we're going to have at the beginning of the game, and we will go with the roll. So we'll just mark the roll there. All right. Mark that space next to roll so that we have that available to us. Okay, then over here we have our dungeon, which starts out basically with a map. Like I said, there's 2 different dungeons in the game. We're going to be playing the ancient Barrow today. And as you can see, you have a map. It tells you to start here, and as you move through the map, you're just going to draw lines to trace your path. You can go back over spaces you've been in before. You can draw your line back over your path. There's no limitations really to how you move, but you're just going to track your movement. You're going to have enemies on the map. There's 4 different types of enemies, and we have, for example, the skeletal soldier, and all their stats are recorded over here. So we have our skeletal soldier, basically your weak melee type enemy. We have the wisp, which can attack at range. We have the troll skeleton, which is really tough, but if you beat him, you get a key. And we have the Barrow Lord, which is our boss. The special thing about the Barrow Lord in this particular, he's the boss of this dungeon, and his shtick is that there are also these 3 what are called spirit jars buried around in the barrow. And every time you destroy a spirit jar, which you just have to spend an action die when you're next to them, when you destroy one, it does 1 damage to him. He starts out with 5 health, which is really high in this game. But each time you destroy one of these, it does 1 damage to him. He also has a ranged attack, and his ranged attack is based on the range of the attack is based on the number of spirit jars that are unbroken. So breaking those spirit jars does damage to him, and it also limits his attack. So we want to take out all 3 of them if we can, but we're only going to have 20 rounds to finish the game in, and we're going to track those rounds on this time track down here. So there's going to be a bit of a time crunch if we go for all 3 of them. We might have to take on the boss before we do that. Then we have this key here for other map objects. We have piles of treasure scattered around. When you end your movement on a pile of treasure, you're going to roll a die and you're going to collect some gold based on what you roll. We have item stashes, which we have one here, for example. When you end your movement there, you pick up a potion and an elixir. We have traps. Every time you move over a trap, you got to roll a die, and depending on what you roll, will determine what happens to you. If you roll a 5 or a 6, you disarm the trap safely, nothing bad happens. But if you roll 1 through 4, there's going to be some consequences. We have doors, which there's only 1 of on the map right here, guarding the entrance to the boss room. And the door, basically, if you're next to it, you can unlock it with either a key or with an action die that has a value of 6. And before you unlock it, you can't move through it or attack through it or anything like that. And then we have the spirit jars, which I already explained. We just need to break them to weaken the boss. So that's basically what's going on. At the beginning of each round, we're going to roll 2 dice. These are what they call double D6s. They're basically, each one is a 12-sided die with the numbers 1 through 6 on it twice. You can use regular 6-sided dice. I just like how these roll, so that's what I'm using today. You're going to roll 2 of these, and those are your action dice, and then you're going to spend the dice, setting them aside and using the value on them to resolve one of your actions. So we're going to do that now. We rolled a couple of 4s, all right? We could, at this point, spend our grit to adjust those values before we use them, but we don't need to at this point. So now we're going to spend these to resolve some actions. We have the move action and the strike action. We can do either of them twice, or we can do 1 of each in any order, however we like. So we're going to start by moving. We're going to move 4 spaces, or we can move up to 4 spaces. We don't have to move all 4. And in fact, our move action tells us that if we move less than the full number of spaces, we recover 1 grit. So that'll be important later after we've spent some grit. But let's go ahead and start by rolling, by moving 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3. Actually, we're just going to move the 3 to here, and that'll put us right next to the skeletal soldier. And then, actually, I'm going to use a marker on this, because then you'll be able to see it better, and we don't have to erase anything on here, so we'll just use the marker. All right. Okay, so we moved to this point. Now, we're going to spend a couple of grit in order to use our roll. The roll lets us spend 2 grit to move up to 2 spaces. You ignore any consequences for entering an enemy space during this movement. And this does not require you to spend an action die. So we're going to get to move 2 spaces, and we don't have to worry about moving into enemy spaces. Normally, each time you move into an enemy space, you're going to take 1 damage. But because I'm rolling, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to just roll right through this skeletal warrior and into the space of the wisp. And we're going to end that roll there. Now, we have 1 action left. I'm going to use, there's no penalty for just standing in the wisp space, so I'm going to stay there. And I'm going to use my other action die, which is another 4, to resolve my strike action. The strike says I can spend an action die to attack an adjacent enemy whose defense is less than or equal to the value of the die. The skeletal soldier's defense is a 2, so that he qualifies, and I do 1 damage to him. He only has 1 health, so we're just going to take him out altogether, and we'll just draw an X over him so we know he is dead. All right, now would be the end of the round because I've used both of my action dice. Basically, the enemies act at the end of the round, but there's no enemies that are going to do anything to me at the end of this round, so I don't have to worry about that. We're just going to move straight to the next round by rolling the action dice. We've got a 4 and a 3. Okay. Oh, I also forgot when I took out this soldier, the skeletal soldier, I would have gotten 1 gold and 1 experience point, and I'm just going to track those over here in the appropriate spaces. So let's see, what do we want to do next? Okay, we could take out this wisp that we're standing on right now. We just have to move to an adjacent space because you can't attack someone in the space that you're standing. But the reward for taking him out is 2 experience points, so there's no gold in it. So, I mean, experience points are good, but I also have to think about, at the end of that first round, I should have done this, is mark off a space on the time track. So we're 1 round down out of 20. So I think I'm not going to worry about fighting him right now. I'm just going to go ahead and move. I've got a 3 and a 4 available to me. And it only takes a 3 to fight a wisp. So I'm going to use the 4. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And stop here. And since I only used 3 out of 4, I did move less than the full number of spaces, so I recover 1 grit. So I'll erase a mark on this triangle over here. Okay, so I have 3 grit available to me now. And then I'm going to use my other action, which is this 3, to attack the wisp. And that'll take him out, so just draw an X over him. And I'll get 2 experience points for that. So I'll mark that over here. All right, and that'll be that. So I got to mark another round completed, and we'll roll up for the next round. We've got a 4 and a 2. So I'm going to use this 2 to move. I'm going to move over here onto this treasure pile. I'm going to draw an X over that so I know I've collected it. And I'm going to roll to see how much treasure I collect. All right, I rolled a 2, and so that's just 2 gold for me. So I'm going to add that to what I got from defeating that soldier. So I have 3 gold now. Okay, and I have a 4, so I can use that 4 to move. Let's see, I could go 1, 2, 3. So if I move 4, I'm going to find myself in the uncomfortable position of standing either here or here. And the wisp, basically he attacks diagonally and as far as he can reach. So he could attack either of those spaces. So I don't want to end in either of those spaces if I can help it, because then I'll be taking damage. So I think what I'll do is I'll use the 4 to move, but I'm only going to move 3 spaces. I'll go 1, 2, 3. And having done that, I will end in a space that's safe for me. I will also recover a grit because I didn't move the full 4. And I've moved on to this trap, so I'm going to go ahead and draw an X over the trap to know that I've triggered it. And I got to roll to see what the trap does to me. I rolled a 5. 5 or a 6 is safe, so the trap didn't do anything. So that's going to be it for that round. I'm going to mark the round off, and we're going to roll up again. All right, couple of 1s. That's not great. So now is probably where I'm going to spend some grit to make something better happen for me. So let's see. I could spend... Okay, I'm going to spend the 1 action die to just move into this space here. Okay? Then I'm going to spend 1 grit, which I'll mark over here, to make this action die a 2, and that'll be enough to take out this guy here. That'll get me 1 gold and 1 XP. And then I'm going to use 2 more grit to do a roll so that I don't end up in a spot where this wisp can attack me. So I'm going to roll. I can roll 2 spaces. I'm going to roll over here into this treasure pile, which I'll go ahead and search the treasure, see how much gold I get. We got another 2. So puts us at 6 gold. Okay. So that'll be another round down. And we're going to roll up for the next round. Okay, we've got a 1 and a 4. So I'm going to use this 1 to break this spirit jar. And I'm just going to make a little mark over here kind of near the boss to remember that I did 1 damage to him. And then I have a 4, which I can use for movement. So I could move 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to end there because I can take damage there. So I'm just going to go ahead and spend 1 more grit to make that 4 a 5. And I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And stop right here. All right. That's another round down. We're a quarter of the way through the game. And we roll up for our next. We've got a 3 and a 2. Okay, I only need a 3 to take out this wisp. I mean, it's probably good to go ahead and take him out. But I'm trying to think ahead to, I want to get to all the gold before I run out of time. So, let's see. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll use the 3 to take him out. And that'll get me 2 experience points. And then I'll use the 2 to move, and I'll move over here. Go ahead and cross out these items. So I picked up a potion and an elixir. So I've marked those down here that I have them. And then I'm going to mark that space again with an X when I've used them. And that'll be it for that round. Roll up for the next round. Okay, we have a 5 and a 6. Well, I'll just use the 5 to break this spirit jar. And that does 1 more damage to the boss, which I'm just tracking over here, kind of close to him. And then I have a 6 left. Well, maybe what I'll do, if I move 1, 2, 3, 4, if I move to where this trap is, alternatively, I can move up here. Yeah, let's maybe do that. All right. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Set off the trap. All right, we rolled a 6 for the trap, so it does nothing. So we've been lucky with traps this time around. This is the end of the round, and I would have recovered 1 grit. Okay, I would have recovered 1 grit for not moving the full 6 spaces I was entitled to. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and spend my elixir to recover all of my grit. And then I'm just going to go ahead and spend 2 grit to roll. I'm going to roll past this wisp into this treasure pile here, which I can go ahead and search. Ooh, I rolled a 6 this time. Nice, that's 6 gold. Brings us up to a total of 12. And I'm not going to be in line for anyone to attack me. So that's good. All right, so another round is over. I'll roll up for another round. We've got a 2 and a 4. Okay. Well, we need... We can use the 4 to take out this wisp. We'll go ahead and do that. And that'll get me 2 experience points. Puts us at 8. And then I can use the 4. No, I used the 4 for that. I've got a 2 left. All right, I'm just going to use the 2 to move over into the space where the wisp was. And since that's only 1 space that I'm moving out of 2, I get to recover a grit. Okay, and that'll be that. So we're going to mark another round down. And we've rolled a 2 and a 6. Okay. Well, So what I'm thinking is, I've got 3 grit available. I could use 2 of those to roll, and I would end in this spot where this where the skeletal warrior is. Then I could use my 2 to move 2 spaces and stop right here, and then I could use my 6 to attack this troll skeleton. So maybe I'll do that. All right, so we use 2 grit to roll. Get to travel 2 spaces with that roll. So we'll end the space, the movement here where the skeleton is. Then we use the 2 to move 2 more spaces here. Then we use the 6, and the 6 will let us do 1 damage to the troll. Now, we've just marked that here next to in the corner of the troll. He actually has 2 health, so I've got to do 1 more damage to take him out. And I am ending the round adjacent to him, so he's going to deal 2 damage to me, which is pretty tough. But that's just how it goes. So we're going to mark that over here. We do have a potion available, so we can heal ourselves if we need to. Okay, and we'll mark that round over, roll up for our next round. Okay, we've got a couple of 4s. Well, a 4 will finish off the troll, so let's go ahead and do that first. And when we finish off the troll, we get 2 gold, 3 experience points, and a key. So we'll mark the 2 gold here, 3 experience points, and a key. Okay, we have a total of 11 experience points now. We can spend 10 of them to gain another talent, so we'll do that. So we've already got the roll right here. We'll spend 10 talents to gain... Maybe we'll gain the sweeping strike? Yeah, let's go for that. Alright. I don't know, maybe I should have gone for the boomerang toss. Because our boss is ranged, although his range has been reduced now because we've been breaking the spirit jars. I don't know. That's a tough one. Well, we'll just go with the sweeping strike. That's what we've selected. So, and the boomerang toss. Okay, we're gonna go with the boomerang toss. Let's back it up. I think on this particular map, the boomerang toss is going to be more useful. So we'll just kind of whatever, mark that out. So we've got the roll and the boomerang toss now. Okay, and we still have a 4 left, so we could use that. We'll use that to move. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. End up over here in this treasure. Can roll to search the treasure. Ooh, another 6. Nice. So that puts us at 20 gold right now. Okay, and that's it for that round. So let's move on to the next round. We've got a 4 and a 6. Okay, let's see. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and recover a grit. So let's do that. And then we'll use the, so we're going to recover a grit because we didn't use all our movement. And then we'll use the 4 there to take out this skeleton. And that'll get us 1 gold and 1 XP. And we're stopping in a space where this wisp could damage us. So we're just going to let that happen. Because we have a potion, we can heal ourselves. It's not a big deal. Okay. Now, next round. Let's see, we rolled a 1 and a 2. That's not great. Okay, well, we can spend 1 grit to make that. We've got 2 grit available. We're going to spend both of them. We're going to make the 2 a 3, and we're going to make the 1 a 2. So we'll spend the 3 first to move 1, 2, 3 to this spot right here. And then we'll use the 2 to take out this skeleton here. That gets us a gold and an XP. and we are in a safe spot where nothing can damage us at the moment. All right, another round over. Let's roll up. Okay, we've got a 2 and a 6. So we'll use the 6 to move over here. That'll let us recover 1 grit because we didn't use the full movement. And then we are going to search this treasure, which we'll just go ahead and cross off. We rolled a 5, so that's 5 gold, puts us at 27. And then we'll use our 2 to just break this spirit jar, which does 1 more damage to the boss. Okay, he's only got 2 hits left on him. And now we're gonna roll up another round. All right, so we've got a 2 and a 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can move right here to where, right in front of that door with the 5. That was only 4 movement, so we recovered another grit. And then we can use our key that we've got to open this door. We're just going to circle it to indicate it's unlocked. And then, let's see, a 2 would be enough to attack the skeleton if we were next to it, or since we have the boomerang toss, we can spend 2 grit to attack him at range. So we'll go ahead and take him out. That's another gold, puts us at 28, and XP puts us at 4 XP. All right, and that's a round over. Okay, we've got a 1 and a 6. So let's see. All right, the boomerang toss lets us attack an enemy within 4 spaces. So we could take out him or damage him from right here if we wanted. We're all out of grit. So we're going to use the 6 to move up to here. And that'll let us recover 1 grit. And then we're going to use the 1 to move, but it's up to that many spaces. So we're going to move 0 spaces, and that'll just let us recover another grit. So we'll be at, we've got 2 grit available now. Okay, and that's that round. Next round. All right, we've got a 5 and a 3. So we can use the 5 to attack if we spend 2 grit, right? His defense is 5, the boss's defense is 5, so we can use the 5 to attack him. We just got to spend the 2 grit to make it a boomerang toss. So we'll do that. That's what the 5 will do. And we'll spend our 2 grit. And we'll do 1 damage to him. We'll just make a little note of that down there. Okay, and then we'll use this 3 to move, but we're not actually going to move, and that'll let us recover 1 more grit. Okay, so we got 1 grit left. There we go. There's that. All right, next round. We've got a 1 and a 6. Okay, so we'll use the 1 to move, but not actually move, and that'll let us recover a grit, and then we'll use the 6 to attack, spending 2 grit for the boomerang toss, and that will finish off the boss. Finishing the boss gets us 5 gold and 5 XP, so that puts us at 33 gold and 9 XP. And we're going to mark this spot on the time track with an X instead of just a dash, so we can remember when we defeated the boss. All right, and that is that for that round. Now we've got a 5 and a 6, so we're just going to use the 5, or we'll go ahead and use the 6 to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Search this treasure. We only got 1, puts us at 34. Okay, and then we can use the 5 to attack this wisp, which means we get 2 experience, which means we have enough. We could buy our last talent, but it's kind of irrelevant at this point. We're so close to the end. Next round, we've got a 2 and a 5, so we'll use the 2 to move over here, collect this treasure, All right, we roll a 5 for that. So that puts us at 39. And then we have a 5 left, which we'll use to move. And basically, I just want to move somewhere I'm not going to get shot at the end of the round. So we'll move here. That's a safe spot. That would recover a grit. All right. And that's the end of that round. We have one more round with which to play, but we have collected all the treasure on the map, and we've defeated all the enemies that will give us gold. So this last round is basically irrelevant. We'll just go ahead and mark it off. And that's the game. So if I was playing against other opponents, they would have been resolving their actions at the same time I was doing mine, using the same values that I was using. They may have been playing the same character or a different character, but they would have been playing on a copy of the same map. And we would just compare how much gold we have. I had 39 at the end of the game. If there was a tie where we both had the same number of gold, which would be rare, but if it happened, then we'd see who defeated the boss on an earlier round. I defeated the boss on round 17. So if somebody else had the same amount of gold as me, but they had beaten the boss on round 15, then they've been the winner. And that's basically how the game works. So we'll go back up top and we'll have some closing thoughts on it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that playthrough of Warriors and Writings, the Introductory Edition. As you can see, it's very straightforward, very simple gameplay. It's quick to play. You can play with up to 4 players easily. In theory, you could play with more than 4 players. Nothing wrong with doing that. But of course, when you start to add more players, then the game will get a little bit slower. Even though everybody's acting simultaneously, you'll always be at the speed of whoever takes the longest each round. So that can slow things down if you have a lot of different players, right? But easily you can play 1 to 4 players. Even the solo play is enjoyable with that. You're always, under the gun to defeat the boss, within a certain number of rounds. So there's that time pressure. And then you're also trying to collect more loot than you have on previous runs, right? There's, like I said, a couple of different maps. We just showed you one map and one of the adventurers. There's 2 different options. You can mix and match them. And in the full edition of the game, there's going to be the heroes, the adventurers are going to be more involved. The maps are more involved. There's a more interesting challenges and a greater variety of challenges. So you can look forward to that in the full edition. And I'll be showing some previews of that as well. Again, you can find this introductory edition free to download, play, check out for yourself. Links are in the description of this video. Again, my name was Nathan. You're watching Nice at Dice. Thank you so much for watching, and you enjoy the rest of your day.